When you talk about payment, as I said, whatever we have discussed in your liability ledger, credit ledger, cash ledger may not be so crucial from your question point of view, but interest is a very common question that you will get. So this was all a foundation that we created for interest. Don't be surprised to see a question paper where you don't find anything about your liability ledger, don't find anything about your credit ledger, don't find anything about your cash ledger. After investing so much time through all the points, so many ifs and buts, so many ifs and buts again and again, finally from exam point of view, you may not get anything whatever we have discussed. But what is the most important area is interest. Supposing you have only 10 minutes to revise this entire chapter. Your schedule is so tight that before the exam you have only 10 minutes. The suggestion would be first come at interest and read it. Revise it. Right. So when you are seeing a payment chapter, please make sure that not only within the chapter, not only by selecting the chapter you have to do ABC analysis. Within the chapter also there will be something called as ABC analysis. Even within the chapter. So first focus on interest. Okay. How to understand. Once you are done with interest in 5 minutes, then other 5 minutes you spend on other areas. Right, but the first focus would be on your interest. Now when you talk about your interest is split into two parts. Interest is split into two parts. One, late payment. One, we are talking about wrong availment and utilization of ITC, interest on that. One is for late payment. One is for late payment. Rather I can write it here. One is for your late payment, another is for your wrong availment and utilization of input tax rent. Right. Now coming back here. Now when you are talking about late payment interest, the question is whether you will pay interest on gross liability or net liability. Whether you will pay interest on gross liability or net liability. Let me put it this way. Your gross output tax is 10 lakhs less input tax credit is 8 lakhs less what you pay by cash is 2 lakhs. What you pay by cash is 2 lakhs. Supposing I give an additional information that it is the month of April. What is the due date of making the payment? What is the due date? Due date of payment is 20th of May. If you make the payment on or before this date, no interest. Supposing I tell that actual date of payment is 31st May. 31st May. Interest will always have three components, isn't it? First, the basic amount. That is a big question mark. That is why what we are trying to understand. Multiplied by interest rate and GST is 18% per annum. Multiplied by number of days. How many days delay is there? 11 days. Divided by 365. The question here is, when I have said that you have to pay interest, interest is on what amount? Gross output tax 10 lakhs or net tax. This amount paid in cash ledger is nothing but your net output tax 2 lakhs. Whether it is 10 lakhs or 2 lakhs. Because understand that to the government the loss of revenue is only on 2 lakhs. You are paying only 2 lakhs by cash ledger, which is late. Otherwise credit ledger is only an adjustment. Correct? So whether it is on 10 lakhs or 2 lakhs. See, if you know time value of money, government will get in cash only 2 lakhs. So government is losing amount only on 2 lakhs. So it is on 10 lakhs or 2 lakhs. So understand that basically it tells that normal case it is 2 lakhs. But there is a possibility that it can be on 10 lakhs also. There is a possibility that it can be on 10 lakhs as well. Now you may ask, what is that possibility that it is on 10 lakhs? If I tell that this liability is found by the department, this liability is not set by you, it is found by the Department because they have initiated. There's a proceeding called as Section 73 proceeding, bona fide case, for 74 proceeding, fraud case. Simple language, this liability is found by the department. Then you should be not given any relaxation. Therefore, they tell that now interest will be on. Now your interest will be on 10 lakhs. Or one more case. This liability is shown by assessee only, but 1 month's liability is reported in another month. 1 month's liability is reported in another month. Then it is 10 lakhs. Now, if you ask, then what is the situation which is focusing on 2 lakhs? If it is a liability, if at all it is a liability that is of the assessee, which means that is found by the assessee, plus it is the same month's liability. The same month's liability reported in the same month. Reported in the same month, but paid late. April month's liability shown in April return but late. April month's liability reported in April return but late. Then it is 2 lakhs. I repeat, interest can be on 2 lakhs. Interest can also be on 10 lakhs. When it is on 2 lakhs, if at all it is April month's liability reported in April month but reported late, it is on 2 lakhs. When it is on 10 lakhs, if it is April month's liability reported in May month or June month or July month, then it is on 10 lakhs. Or it is found by the department, then it is on 10 lakhs. Right. Interest can be on gross liability as well as on net liability, depending on what case it is. Now, to understand it in a better way, let us take numbers. Let us talk about the numbers. Now, if I tell supplies of April declared in April, supplies of April declared in April. Payment and filing is done on 18th May. Payment and filing is done on April month due date is 20th May. So whether any interest will come? There's no late payment, no question of any interest. I am not at all saying what is my gross output or net output, because I have paid on time. So no question of any interest. But if I change the example and if I tell that it is April month liability declared in April return, filing is done on 28th of August. 28th of August. April month's payment and filing should have been done on 20th May, but it is now done on 28th of August. Is it on time or late? Is it on time or late? Late. How many delay? How many days delay? May month, what was the due date? 20th of May. When it is done? 28th of August. So May month, how many days? 11. May will have 31. May, June, July, August. So how many days? 100. How many days? 100. So that is a 100 days delay. Now if I look at the question more, I find that gross output tax is 7 lakhs, ITC is, which means by cash ledger I have paid 0. By cash ledger I have paid 0. So what will be the interest? Interest will be 0 multiplied by 18% multiplied by 100 divided by 365, which will be, though I have paid late, but there is no interest. In the first case, there was no late payment. In the second case, there is late payment, but still interest is 0. Why? Payment by cash ledger is 0. If I change the example, make it more interesting. Supplies of April declared in April. Well and good. Payment and filing is done on 28th of August. Basically kept the same data. So how many days delay? How many days delay? I'm not going to work out that again. So it is from 21st of May to 28th of August. We have already worked out because everything is the same as the previous case 2. Gross output tax is 10 lakhs and ITC is 7 lakhs. Now whether interest will come. Interest will be on 3 lakhs, the amount paid by cash ledger, multiplied by 18% multiplied by, please use your calculator and find it out. I am not interested in working for calculator. So you can use your calculator, you will get the final figure. You will get the final figure. Are you clear with this understanding? Are you guys clear with this understanding? But in all these 3 cases, it is April month liability reported in April. So we have to understand something called as a different case where it is April month liability and June month liability, both are reported in June. How is it possible? April month I have filed nil return. I have not shown anything. In June month I show the transaction of June plus April. Transaction of June plus April. So April liability reported in June month, June liability reported in June month. What would have practically happened is April month return I would have filed it as nil by mistake or whatever it is, and suddenly I realize that that's the April month liability which I am adding it with June month. Payment and filing is done on 28th of August. Basically how many days delay? Now it will be different. You have to calculate separately for April, calculate separately for June. Right. I am giving additional information that when you talk about your April month, your gross output tax is 10 lakhs, input tax credit is 7 lakhs, April month. Because now both April and June transactions are reported in June month. When I am talking about your June gross output tax is 20 lakhs, input tax credit is 15 lakhs. Input tax credit is 15 lakhs. Now understand that interest will be worked out 2 times and then added. First, let us talk about interest for the month of April, then we will talk about interest for the month of June. For April month reported in June month, gross output or net output? Interest is on gross liability or net liability? So what is the gross liability of April? We'll start with 10 lakhs multiplied by 18%. How many days delay? For April, it will be from 21st May to 28th of August, which will be 11 plus 30 plus 31 plus 28. It will be 100 days. That is not the entire answer, one part of the answer. Now for June month reported in June month, interest will be on gross liability or net liability? Interest will be on net liability. 20 lakhs minus 15 lakhs. 20 lakhs minus 15 lakhs. Interest is only on? For April, I never saw what is the input tax credit. For April, input tax credit was not at all relevant because interest is on gross liability. For June, I am seeing output minus input. It is 5 lakhs multiplied by 18%. What is the delay? June month due date is 20th July. So interest will start from 21st July to July. You have 11 days. August is 28 days. So it will be totally 39 days. You get both the answers, add it, that will be the total interest. Are we guys clear with this understanding? In this entire example, we have believed that assessee has reported the liability on his own. If proper officer would have found it, Whatever is the case, interest would have been on gross liability. Interest would have been on gross liability. So that is given as a note. That is given as a note. Rather than writing the same example again, the better notice, if at all it was a case where officer has started section 73, 74, then you are making the payment. Interest is always on gross output. Gross output. That is the first part. That is the first part. So when you talk about interest, we are done with the first part of interest, but the focus is on late payment. The focus is on late payment. But the second part of interest is still pending. So first part we are done with the first part. We are done with the first part. All the ifs and buts, we are done with the first part. Now the focus is on the second part, which is all about wrong availment or utilization. Now, very interesting scenario. Highly possible that you might get a question because it is a new one and never tested by institute. So highly possible. What are they talking about? First, clarity. Interest is only if ITC is wrongly availed and utilized. If I have merely wrongly availed ITC and not utilized it, there is no interest. Interest is only where I have wrongly availed the ITC and used it. See, problem for the government is only when you use the credit. If you don't use the credit, there is no issue. So there should be wrong availment and utilization. If there is a wrong availment of ITC but that is not at all used, no interest. All I have to do is reverse that ITC. If there is wrong availment of ITC which I have used, all I have to do is reverse the ITC with interest. Reverse the ITC with interest. Right. And they have given lots of ifs and buts. When interest will start, how it will start, theoretically, lot of things are given. Interest end date is very simple when you reverse the ITC. But starting date is from the date of utilization. So if you see the interest starting date is date when you use it until you repay it or reverse it. Either paid by DRC 03 Challan cash ledger or reverse it in your return. Reverse it in your return. But there are a lot of points which have been explained through small areas which I believe that if I take theoretically it may not make clear sense. Right. What we can do is directly take an example and understand all these areas. There are a lot of small aspects. Theoretically, if you read 10 times, it may not make full sense. Practically, see an example, it will give you full meaning of what they are trying to tell. Now, supposing I talk about a case where I have wrongly availed ITC. Which month? Be very clear with each step. Which month? April 22nd. April 22nd. April 22nd. Return I have filed on April 22nd. Return I have filed on 22nd of May. Which means I have not filed on time. I have filed lately, 22nd of May. But in that month, one thing is very clear. I have taken wrong ITC of 1 lakh. Wrong ITC of 1 lakh. My balance in electronic credit ledger till 25th of November remains more than 1,25,000. Why it is given? Though I have wrongly availed the credit of 1 lakh, I have never used it because my credit balance was always more than what I have wrongly availed. When I tell that I have wrongly availed the credit of 1 lakh, right from 22nd May till a date called as 25th of November, I have taken wrong credit of 1 lakh, which I have to repay. No doubt that I have to pay back. But the question is all about interest. Understand that my credit ledger balance was always more than 1 lakh, in this case more than 1,25,000 till 25th of interest will not come. Because I have taken wrong ITC but I have not utilized it. Now, on 25th of November, when I have filed my October return, my credit balance has come down to, now what it means? There was a wrong availment of credit of 1 lakh. Right? Now that is partly used. That is partly used. It is not yet fully used. That is partly used. That is partly used. Now if you see the interest calculation, let us start the interest calculation. On which amount? On 25,000. On 25,000. On interest rate as per section is maximum 24%, but as notified rate is 18%. Late payment interest rate is given as 18% and actually it is 18%. But wrong availment and utilization of ITC interest as per provision, section 50 subsection 3 is 24% maximum, but applicable rate is 18%. So stay for your exam, interest rate is always 18%. Now from interest will start from which date? Interest will start from, you know the amount. 25,000 is wrongly availed and utilized. Balance 75,000 we are not even touching. 25,000 is wrongly availed and utilized. Let us forget about the timeline as of now. We'll go to the question and we'll see the other aspects. Balance in my credit ledger till 18th February was always more than 75,000, which means I wrongly availed the credit of 1 lakh, but as of now I have wrongly utilized only 25,000. On 18th February, when I have filed my January return, my balance in electronic credit ledger becomes, which means I have paid something by cash. Now my credit is 0. My credit is 0. This was the date where I have wrongly availed and utilized 25,000 rupees. When? On 25th of November. Now is the date on 18th of February. I have wrongly availed. Wrong availment was right from the beginning, but utilization happens only now. Utilization happens only now. Correct. Wrong availment happened long back in April. But utilization happened partly in somewhere in November, to be very specific, 25th of November, and balance 75,000 utilization happened on 18th December. See, each of the steps are very crucial. I have given additional information to make sure that my balance in credit ledger till 18th February was always more than, to tell that it is not yet touched. To tell that it is not yet touched. Clear? Now, don't you think that your interest for the second portion will start? 75,000 multiplied by 18%. Multiplied by 18%. Again, now there is wrong availment and utilization. Wrong availment and utilization. Now, if you see that utilization in both the cases, the first wrong utilization happened while filing my October return on 25th November. Second wrong utilization happened on January return, which I filed on. Now, interest starting date is a bit different here. They tell that interest will start from, first was October return. So, what is the October return due date? October return, what is the due date? 20th of November. Or when October return was actually filed? If you go back to the example, October return was actually filed on. So they tell that if at all you have reversed that ITC through your return. In this case, it was the utilization was happening in return. If the utilization of ITC was happening through your return, take whichever is earlier. Whichever is, and logical thing, very logical thing. Why it is logical thing, right? Why you are not starting from 25th of November? You are actually required to file your return on or before 20th November. So that is your problem. So interest now will start from 20th of November. If I don't tell this point, normal filling will be wrong utilization happened actually on 25th of November. So you'll take. It is not that. starting date of utilization is when your credit balance comes down in a particular return because of filing a particular return. It is due date of filing that return or actual date of filing that return, whichever is earlier. Why your credit balance have come down? Because of filing a particular return. So that return, due date, that return, actual date, whichever is earlier. Why my credit balance, when my credit balance has come down below 1 lakh, first time it came down below 1 lakh to 75,000 when I filed my October month return. So my credit balance has come down now and I have wrongly utilized only now to the extent of 25,000. While doing what? While filing my October return. So that October month, take the actual date or the due date, whichever is earlier. From that date, interest will start. I am not even touching the end date. Now take the second part. My 75,000 I have wrongly utilized. When I have filed my January return on 18th February. Only when I have filed my January month return, I have wrongly utilized 75,000. Only when I filed my January month return, I have wrongly utilized 75,000. So now wrong utilization happens because I have filed my January return. So January return, due date 20th of Feb or actual date, I have actually filed my January return before it, whichever is. So this would be my starting date of interest from date. Interest will start from the date of utilization. If I just tell that, in the first case you would have made a mistake. From the date of utilization you would have taken as 25th of November. Now interest will start from the date of utilization. If utilization is happening because of filing a return, that particular return actual date or due date, you take whichever is earlier. That is the starting date. Still end date we don't know. End date is very simple. End date is when you actually reverse it. Now my consultant said that I have taken extra 1 lakh credit and I am reversing it in August 2023. I am reversing after very long time. I am reversing it August 2023. Now when I am reversing it, either I am reversing it by showing in my return or by paying voluntarily to DRC03, there is no change. I have reversed by my return or by separately filing DRC03 voluntary challan, which means separately I am reversing it, not showing in my return but separately paying for the same. Separately, when this is happening, reversal happens on, so interest will continue till whether it is first 25,000 or next 75,000, interest will continue till 29th of September. Now you get everything about your interest. First it was all about the amount. How we found it? Only when you wrongly utilize it, interest will start. So first we found wrong utilization of 25,000 happened on a particular date and wrong utilization of 75,000 happened on a particular date. So interest was done separately for them. Then next is rate. Rate is very simple, 18%. Then next is number of days of delay divided by 365. Now how to find out number of days? Till date is very simple. Interest will continue till you actually. So that is not a challenge. What is the challenge? From date. From which date? If at all your credit balance comes down and you wrongly utilize the credit because of filing of a particular month's return, take that month and see your actual date of filing of that return because of which your credit balance has come down and wrong utilization has happened, or due date of that return, whichever is. Understand that if you see theoretically this point, whatever I explained, I have to explain through example. Theoretically you will never know what are they trying to tell about. Now you know that interest will be only on wrong utilization. Therefore, interest is on 25,000 separately because it is wrongly utilized at one point of time, and 75,000 separately because it is wrongly utilized at another point of time. And rate of interest is 18%. and interest will continue till actually you pay it, whether through return or separately, till you pay it. From date is a big challenge. What is the most challenging area here? From date is a big challenge. That from date is when you actually wrongly utilize it. So when you are actually wrongly utilize it, if at all your wrong utilization happens because your credit balance comes down because of filing a particular return, take that particular month's return, see the actual date of filing that return or due date of filing that return, whichever is earlier. In the other example, everything is the same. A small change is that. When you see the other example and compare both, you will find a small difference. Everything is same. I have taken wrong availment of ITC in April 22nd, 1 lakh. This April month, 22nd of May is not at all relevant. But I know that I have wrongly availed ITC of 1 lakh. My balance in electronic credit ledger till 25th of November is more than 1,25,000, which means there is wrong availment of credit but no utilization. Now, my amount in credit ledger on 25th of November is coming down to 75,000, not because of filing a particular month return, but because I am paying some of my old dues by DRC03. I am not paying this 1 lakh, I am paying some other old dues. I am paying some other old dues by filing DRC03 challan, which is a payment challan, which is a voluntary payment challan. Am I reversing this 1 lakh? No. I am paying some other dues because of which my credit balance comes down. Now here for the first time there is wrong availment and utilization of ITC which is 25,000. So now interest will be on 25,000, 18%. From date is very simple in this case. From is date of wrong utilization. In this case, wrong utilization did not happen because of filing of a particular return. It happened because of payment through DRC03. When I paid through DRC03, that's it. Actual date. It is actual date of DRC03. That's it. Now it is that particular date. Now my credit balance has come down not because of filing a particular month's return. It has come down because I am paying some of my old dues by DRC03 challan and it is coming down. So that particular date. Right. Coming back ahead. My balance in electronic credit ledger till 18th of Feb was always more than 75,000. But on 18th of Feb, my credit balance became suddenly zero. Again, because of what? Because of paying some other old dues. Not this 1 lakh. I have not yet reversed this 1 lakh. I am paying some old dues voluntarily by DRC03. Now, what is happening? There is wrong availment and utilization of. Now, interest on 75,000 will start. So, 75,000 multiplied by 18%. What is the from date? Actual date of paying the old dues by DRC03 challan. Clear? And till date is always simple. I realize that there is excess availment of ITC and I have reversed in August 2023. After long time. Either by showing it in return or DRC. See, when I am reversing it, it is not important. Whether I am reversing through return or through DRC03, it is not important. Which date I am reversing it? So, interest will be till 29th of September. 29th of. All you need to do now is take your calculator, all the details are there, use it and find the answer. Now, you will see that both the examples were exactly the same except for one difference that you had. In the first case, whenever there was wrong utilization of credit, which means whenever your credit balance came down, it was because of filing a particular return. In this case, whenever your credit balance came down, it was because of paying some other old dues by DRC03 challan. If at all your credit balance is coming down and there is wrong utilization because of a filing of a particular return, then interest will start from actual date of that return or due date of that return, whichever is earlier. But if your credit balance is coming down because of paying your old dues by DRC03 challan and that results in wrong utilization of credit, then interest will start from actual date of filing that DRC03 challan. That is the starting date. End date is always very simple. Whenever you actually reverse it, interest will continue till you actually reverse it. Whether you are reversing by showing it in your return or by whether you reverse it separately by paying through DRC03 challan is not important. Till you actually reverse it. Till you actually reverse it. So, if you see in both the places, whenever it was all about reversal, what is given? Whether through return or DRC03. Whether through return, that is not important. That is not important. If at all I tell that in both the examples, my credit balance never came below 1 lakh. My credit balance never ever came below, interest will not at all come. If I tell in both these examples that even till date, my interest balance never ever came down. My interest balance never ever came down below 1 lakh. There will be no interest. There will be no interest. Right. Now, seeing the theoretical points will make sense. Interest is from which date to which date? Interest is from which date to which date? From the date of utilization of credit till the date of repayment by DRC03 or reversal in return. What is the starting date? The challenge is only the starting date, right? When you tell that you have utilized the credit, if utilization is through return by filing a particular return, it is earlier of due date of that return or actual date of that return. If the utilization of credit happens because of any other case means paying my old dues or applying for refund, anything. Paying my old dues or applying for refund can be one of the case, not necessarily paying my old dues. Then it is date of debit in electronic credit ledger. That particular date when the balance comes down. When the balance comes down. Right. That is everything about your second part of interest. Second part of interest. Interest second part, only with the help of example it will make sense, and I have always made sure that whenever examples are given, complicated examples are given. I could have taken a very simple stand that entire 1 lakh is reversed at one point of time. My credit balance directly comes down below 0. But what we have seen, first my credit balance comes down to 75,000, then it became 0. To tell that there can be 2 or 3 steps. When you understand 2 steps, 3 steps is simple. Now if I tell that first credit balance is up to 75,000, then it came down to 50,000, it remained at 50,000 for a few months. Then it came down to 25,000, it remained at 25,000 for a few months. Then it became 0. See, understand, when I tell my credit balance comes to 75,000, it means it will not remain at 75,000. It is 75,000 or more at any given point of time. It was not always 75,000. It was 75,000 at one point of time. Thereafter it did not get down, it went up. Thereafter it did not get down, but it went up. And there could be a case where my credit balance came up to 75,000, then it went up and it never came down. So interest will be only on 25,000. The examples are drafted in such a way, right from the beginning till now and all the other chapters, you are able to understand all the examples. If tomorrow I give an example where I tell that I have wrongly availed credit of 1 lakh, I have wrongly availed the credit of 1 lakh, and at one point of time my credit balance came down till 75,000, but thereafter again the credit balance shoot up and it was always more than 10 lakhs. Interest will be only on balance 75,000, never, there would be no interest. Why? There was wrong availment of 75,000 which I have to pay it. There is no excuse that I am not going to pay it. Please understand that I have to pay entire 1 lakh. Any case, I have to always pay that 1 lakh. Whether now or later, I have to always pay that 1 lakh. We are talking whether along with that 1 lakh there will be any interest or not. Please don't have in mind that should I pay 1 lakh. You have to pay that 1 lakh. You have to pay that 1 lakh. Question is whether there will be any interest or there will be no interest. Whether there will be any interest or there will be no interest. Right. Now, any permutation combination it comes. The moment you see these two examples which are given side by side, your mind knows now, okay, whatever ifs and buts comes, we know how to take this particular question and address it. So that is everything about your interest. One small other example which is given there, which is not about a special thing. Example 5, it's all about cash ledger, transfer from one cash ledger to another cash ledger that we have discussed. Example 4 is pretty interesting. Example 4, focus on example 4, which is all about wrong determination of liability. Wrong, it is not about having amount in cash ledger and paying some other liability. It is not at all that. It is different scenario. It is wrong determination of liability. You will understand the moment I started. Supposing there was an interstate supply. There was actually an interstate supply where I have to pay IGST 10 lakhs. But I wrongly understood it as intrastate and I paid CGST 5 lakhs and SGST 5 lakhs. The problem was never with having cash ledger in one hand and having your liability in other. No. The problem was I wrongly determined my liability. My liability should have been IGST liability. But I thought it to be CGST liability and SGST liability. There is nothing about cash ledger here. There is nothing. If you see the question heading, that is very clear. Everything is to do with liability. Wrong determination of liability. Later point of time I am called. Supposing, I will give a practical example. Supposing I supply to special economic zone. It should be always IGST. I thought it to be CGST, SGST. So my liability itself I put as CGST, SGST. Later point of time my consultant said that no, it should have been IGST. Now two-step process. What I should do? I should first pay the correct liability IGST 10 lakhs. Now you will tell that I have already paid CGST 5 lakhs, SGST 5 lakhs. Now I am going to pay IGST 10 lakhs. That is doubling my liability. Wait, that is the next step. That's the next step where you have to go for refund of CGST 5 lakhs and SGST 5 lakhs. Step number 1, pay the correct tax. Step number 2, only after you pay the correct tax, go for the refund of wrong tax that you have paid. Now you may wonder why we are discussing with interest. Normally interest will come for late payment. Here they tell that okay, we understand it is a general mistake. You have just paid in wrong pocket. So we will not take interest. We will not take interest. Fair enough? Fair enough? You pay the correct tax, don't pay the interest. You may find out that after 2 years, but don't pay that interest. Pay IGST. Then claim the refund of wrong paid tax, CGST, SGST. So focus was now here on interest. You will also logically appreciate the fact that they are not collecting interest, though it is paid after 2 years. Why? I am paying IGST after 2 years, but CGST, SGST was paid long back. So no need of interest. Reverse scenario. Supposing I tell that the correct supply was intrastate supply, I should have paid CGST, SGST, but wrongly I paid IGST. The supply was intrastate, I should have paid CGST, SGST, but I wrongly paid. Please tell me the answer. Same analysis. What would be the answer? First pay CGST, SGST 5 lakhs, then claim the refund of IGST 10 lakhs. This may happen after 2-3 years, but when I am paying the correct tax CGST, SGST, I need not pay. I need not pay. Even if that finding happens after, say, 2 years, 3 years, after a long time, I'll pay only the correct tax. No interest. Why? Why? Though I did not pay CGST, SGST then, but already I had paid IGST long back. Right? So logically, I'll make it very simple. Step number 1, pay the correct tax. Step number 2, claim the refund of wrong tax. In step number 1, when you're paying the correct tax, no need to pay interest. No need to pay interest. So that is all about your payment chapter and all the ifs and buts about your interest. In payment chapter, the most important area where you should focus a lot is all about interest, which is now categorized into 1, late payment, other wrong availment and utilization. Availment is not so important. What is important is wrong availment and utilization of input tax credit.